Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. It's Sunday, but it's not a Sunday fun day. Instead, we're going to be talking about AEW Collision, which of course aired last night. There's a lot to talk about from the episode, some good, some, well, not so good, and we're going to break it down completely in the next 45 minutes. But for such a stacked show, I need a stacked panel, and firstly, Chaos. How are you today, Chaos?
What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. I'm good, thanks. And I'm excited to talk about last night's Collision. In my opinion, was above average show. It was good, but much better than what the Wrestling Republic reviewed it. But we'll get into that, obviously, for my reasons why I think that. Let's get straight to it, shall we?
Absolutely. And for those of you who haven't seen our review yet, David Sheldon rated it 2.5 out of 5 stars. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. Once I read his review, saw what he rated it down for, I don't really disagree. I see it, I understand completely where he was coming from. The show structure, well, I just didn't think it was that good. But we're going to get into that. But also joining us, we have Bret Sternberg. How are you today, Bret?
I am good, and let's get ready to review. Happy Sunday, everyone. Hope everyone's had a great week. Hope everyone kills the week coming forward. Let's get into it.
That was awesome. I absolutely loved that intro. But let's get straight into something else, which I love, and that is Ricky Starks. Absolute Ricky Starks, who was interviewed this week on Collision, opening the show by Tony Schiavone. And this actually did quite surprise me. Very rarely do AEW open shows with interviews. We know Collision at times is trying to go in a bit of a different direction to Dynamite, so I didn't hate it whatsoever. But Schiavone, off the bat, revealed that Ricky Starks has been suspended from action in AEW, but he's still allowed to appear on TV. So it's literally just in-ring competition he is banned from, but he's allowed to do promos. And I'm going to be honest, I don't get it. But what I did get was the promo that Ricky cut, because it was phenomenal. He really is a star. The entire vibes that he gives off, he is just one of those people who is just, he has it. What is it? I don't know what it is. We talk about it a lot when we talk about Austin Theory. What's missing? Well, whatever's missing, Ricky Starks has. And it was a brilliant promo. It really, really was. And then Starks, very interestingly, said that next week he will bring a war to All Elite Wrestling. He's not allowed to compete, but he will be bringing a war to AEW Dynamite and Collision. I'm going to be honest, coming out of this promo, my first thought was, I really, really, really prefer Ricky Starks versus CM Punk over Samoa Joe versus CM Punk at All In, because I just feel like the story's just there for it. It really, really is. And Ricky deserves the big spotlight that All In provides. But Chaos, give me your thoughts on this opening segment on Collision.
Yeah, I thought that they started off pretty hot with the with that. I think obviously that was the biggest story that came out from last week's Collision. Starks did not hold back. I thoroughly enjoyed this promo. I agree. I don't know. This could mean anything when it comes to him declaring war. Obviously, I thought it could be obviously something that's branching off into feuding with Punk, but obviously Punk is busy with someone else right now. I thoroughly agree. I was really, if anything, I was hoping that Punk versus Starks was going to be held at All In, the first one, the one that happened last week. It made perfect sense for an excuse to have Punk there instead of retreading old waters with Samoa Joe, because as far as we know, like Punk doesn't have anything to prove to Samoa Joe. It just feels kind of like forced, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, they could go either way with this. It could be like interfering in a lot of matches afterwards, just causing whole disruption to the show. They really need to make it matter when it goes to this. Obviously, he's suspended for 30 days. I don't know if he might see through this, or TK might be like, you know what, I'm going to feed you to the wolves, or give you someone at the end beforehand, and then he just gets maybe just taken out or something. I don't know they could go either way with this. I don't know. I don't know what, but it's a nice starting point with Starks. Obviously, he killed it on the mic, as he always does.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I'm curious. I'd rather hold my reservations until we see what happens next week, because it looks like this is purely going to be on Collision. It's not going to do it on Dynamite or Rampage. So we'll just have to wait and see what it does next week, and that's when I will be like, okay, I'm looking forward to this, or yeah, this was an absolute waste of time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so far this Ricky Starks heel turn, I found it fascinating, because he is so good on the mic, and at times you can't help but love him. But he is getting over as a heel. That's how good he is. He is somebody who's so naturally good in this business. But Bret, what did you think about this opening segment?
I think it was great. I do think that it was a good way to stall the storyline. That's what they were doing. I think that they finally I don't know if they let him, but Ricky Starks finally took the training wheels off and is now on a roll with that promo. The first SOB line he did at Tony Schiavone.
Yeah,
that's when his anger started really getting into it, and he got into the promo, and it was an amazing promo after that, to be completely honest with you. Very aggressive, which is what I like, but he's a great talker when it comes down to it, like on the spot. So I don't know if that was a planned storyline, like I would say, but I think that it was great if it was off the top of his head. But I think he took the training wheels off, and now he's about to unleash whatever he's about to.
Yes. No, I'll absolutely agree with you on that, Bret. He feels like he could jump from, a mid-card star in AEW to going right to the main event scene. And I've always thought he's had that talent. I've always actually considered him the fifth pillar of AEW, actually. I've been surprised for a long time that he's not really, considered one of the four pillars. But we've got a couple of comments. We firstly got Jacob, and Jacob saying, "It's not Sunday in New Zealand, boo." Jacob, you're not even in New Zealand.
I saw that. I'm trying to tell you guys to have a good week here, all right?
You guys are backwards. That's what I know. The New Zealand.
You live in London. What are you on about anyway? Shout out to Jacob for that.
Oh, he's not in New Zealand. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
He's in London.
Oh my God. Okay, fair. You got exposed there, bro. Yeah, I just know that New Zealand is like the upside down from Stranger Things. They're so backwards down there, man. Jeez. So yeah. But yeah.
Chaos has beef with New Zealand.
Fight me, bro.
Damn, Izzy's gonna take you on, bro.
Oh no.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
But now let's move on, and let's move on to the women's division in AEW. I'm talking about it nearly every show now, but there's been a lot of criticism as of late. But now it seems like they're listening. They're trying to, not just put the women in the hour 10 spot of the show each week. And they said, move them about, sometimes have them in the main event, sometimes have them earlier in the show like yesterday, and really start to develop these storylines. And I thought this match did a good job at doing that. And what is that match, you may ask? It was Willow and Chris Statlander taking on Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. Now, an interesting thing to note off the bat here is that Willow and Chris Statlander came out separately, while Mercedes Martinez and Diamante came out together, and commentary pointed this small detail out. And the fact that they pointed it out, I loved. I really, really did. It made it off the bat seem like maybe Willow and Chris Statlander weren't as much on the same page as Mercedes Martinez and Diamante were. Another thing I liked is that, even though they're the baby faces, the fact that Chris Statlander and Willow both wanted their own entrances, well, that's something to think about as well. But it was very good crowd work throughout this match by Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. I was really impressed by that. Their heel work is just phenomenal. But Diamante dropped an FU bomb on live TV.
Love it.
I don't know if that's going to go down well, over at Turner. But Diamante and Martinez, they got the win in the end. It was a good match. I thought it developed the storyline quite well, and I enjoyed it. But Chaos, what did you think about this one?
This one surprised me a bit more than it should. Because from when I saw this was announced, I thought this was just going to be a by the numbers TV match, and to a degree it was. But yeah, I like the little subtle detail about the champ and the winner of the Owens Cup. They came out separately because it makes sense at the end of the day. I mean, like, why would I want to come out together with the champion that I may want to challenge in the future? It's not teasing. I'm not saying it's teasing a heel turn from Willow or anything like that, but at the end of the day, everyone's is aiming to take the championship. So yeah, very, very little subtle touch there. I liked. The match was okay for what it was. Willow did like the pounce on what it was on Martinez. Was that on Martinez? Yeah, I think it was. And then obviously Diamante, doing the F bomb. Nigel made them aware of that. But yeah, it was it was cool. I was it furthers the storyline, obviously. Further, I don't know, is this going to lead into for all? I mean, look, we're less than 2 weeks away now. I mean, is TBS Championship going to be on All In, or is it not? I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, but because right now it's just one women's match booked for All In, if I'm aware of.
Yes, it's the Fatal 4-Way as of right now. That's the only thing booked.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that maybe on 0 Hour. We got a random, unexpected good 0 Hour so far with a good match booked on there. So I wouldn't mind seeing the TBS Championship on there at least. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It was fine for what it was. I'm happy with the result, and it's only a matter of time to see Mercedes challenge Chris Statlander for the title. So yeah.
I mean, my only issue with that is we literally shot last week, so it's the case of, are they going to go that route again? They could very easily do that, or perhaps maybe they'll swerve us and do Willow versus Statlander. Maybe they can't get on the same page. Not necessarily a heel turn either way.
No,
so that they're not on the same page, and that could lead to we've seen AEW do face versus face matches in the past. Could you reckon this could maybe be another one of those situations?
Yeah, I don't see why not. There's a lot of steam left in this run with Willow Nightingale. She's very likable, and she's very over. So there's no reason to just turn her heel just for the sake of, for it to make sense for being. Me personally, I don't really see an issue with it being face versus face. If it's going to be a good match, and it's something that fans will be clamoring for, will be fine with it. Yeah, you can give it a pass. And this is definitely one of them. So if it's not 1-on-1, could do a triple threat just to put Mercedes Martinez back in it, because I think she's going to be challenging the title for the title again at some point. So I'm fine with a triple threat, and I'm fine with them running it back with Willow and Chris. Well, why not? I'm down with that. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, I very selfishly, I haven't seen any, for these women, in action with my own eyes before. So I would absolutely, love to see them, compete, maybe a triple threat, maybe even a fatal 4-way at All In. I would truly love that. I mean, they already are doing one 4-way, so I doubt it. I doubt they're going to do another one. But perhaps, Willow, Statlander, I would just love to see Willow in person. And Mercedes Martinez is great too. So either way, but come on, let's get that TBS Championship on the card. It's not that difficult. And, they're clearly building a storyline here, and I like that. They're finally starting to build these mid-card storylines. in AEW's women's division. So we cannot complain about that whatsoever. But let's continue, and let's continue talking about the AEW women's division. And let's move on to talking about Toni Storm, because after this match, Toni Storm had a post-match interview with Tony Schiavone. Well, actually, it wasn't Tony Schiavone. I'm completely wrong there. It was Lexi something, I believe it is.
That's cool. Yeah, Lexi something. Yeah.
Yes, Lexi something. It's like what was it? What was it in the early years of AEW? I think they called it him like Trent something or whatever. When they did the Trent question mark or whatever. Lexi something was interviewing Toni Storm, and this is the second week now in a row we've seen this, this kind of broken Toni Storm character. She's devastated that she lost the championship. She doesn't know who she is without that championship. She feels like an outcast in the outcasts. And I really love this promo. And I actually feel like this new character of hers is actually the most interesting she's been in AEW so far. I hope there's a long-term vision for it. I hope they keep developing it. And I hope it leads to, her leaving the outcasts. But Bret, give me your thoughts on this one.
So that's exactly what I was going to say at the end of my comments, that she probably will end up leaving the outcasts, but that might not be on her accord. I think right now she's taking on more of like a Marilyn Monroe, Jessica Rabbit type of transformation. And it's like, hey, I'm here, I'm beautiful and powerful, but I'm lost at the same time. And that storyline's kind of cool. But I also see it getting her in trouble with her own group.
Yeah.
So, like, at All In, when they do have the four-way with Saraya, I think that there might be a turn. And then I don't know if Toni is going to go full face, but I think she's going to go her own route, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, absolutely. No, I do get that. And I do like that theory.
I think that it's good. I love what they're doing. They're trying to create more of a path for her to kind of grow, because they did do her kind of dirty in the past with the title. We all know this.
Absolutely.
But I think that if they do this the right way, everyone's going to be cheering for her as well. Like, it's going to be the girl trying to do things coming up, and then finally achieving her dreams or getting over on the people that were in her way to stop that path, in a sense. You know what I mean? So more of like a happy ending, I guess, a fairy tale type of story. So a movie like she's trying to put out.
Absolutely. So, she's just, she's trying to get that title reign, which she deserves, and do it, the right way. I love that. I really, really would. Toni Storm has been someone for years. I thought, it's great. I really, really do. I believe the first time that I watched her wrestle, I believe was in Japan. And she was great then. And I always thought that, she was going to be somebody who would become a big star in WWE. Obviously, it didn't end up happening that way. But now in AEW, she's a couple of time, AEW Women's Champion at this point. But let's give her a good reign when, it's her next chance now. A couple of mediocre ones. Let's give her a better one. That's what I personally would love to see.
So I just wanted to confirm, is she putting on a full, not Marilyn Monroe, but is it a full English accent she's doing right now?
She is.
She's
doing it perfectly. It was to the point where
Australian. She's Australian, so
that's what I was saying. It was to the point where I had to actually Wikipedia. I was like, is she English or Australian? Because it was really, really good. I did like her promo. I like these as well, especially with the random shoe throwing at the at the end. That was pretty cool. So
the Toots line.
Sorry,
the Toots line.
Yeah, the Toots line and everything. Yeah. So I think this could possibly potentially be her best run so far. Like, I can actually tolerate her now. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if she lived in England for a few years, but she was wrestling almost every weekend in England for, a number of years. And then she did the same then in Japan. And that's when then she went over to the States, and she was super young.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Japan, she was in like her very early 20s. So I
Did
think
her
when she was
time in
wrestling
Japan.
Cure, she was actually like, late teens as well. So I'm not sure if she was living Cure. I'm going to be honest. I think she was for a
Well, for
little
NXT
bit.
UK, wasn't she?
I guess she did NXT UK as well, but that was then
Yeah.
after the Japan thing again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she is somebody who's she's very well traveled, especially considering she's been in the business for quite a few years now, despite the fact she's still pretty young. So it really is impressive. She's somebody who very clearly cares about this professional wrestling business, and I'm glad to see her getting more of a character and more TV time in AEW. But talking about people who are getting a lot of TV time lately, let's talk about Christian Cage, because every week on Collision we see him and Luchasaurus together, and they came out for another promo this week, and Christian Cage made a big claim off the bat. He made a big claim because he claimed that he was superior to Ric Flair. Ooh, very, very controversial there. He also said he felt, disrespected by Darby Allin. He kept referring to himself as the TNT champion, not Luchasaurus, who, of course, is actually the TNT champion. Bit of a weird one. I'm still not, fully understanding the storyline, but I am slowly getting more interested in it. I will certainly say that. But Arn Anderson then interrupted the promo and came out and said that Luchasaurus is the real TNT champion. And Christian Cage, well, he was not too happy about that one whatsoever. Cage then said, despite the fact that he has banned open challenges in AEW for the TNT Championship, he is willing to bring them back for one night only against Arn Anderson. Well, Arn said, I accept, but not about me. I accept on behalf of my son, Brock Anderson. And Brock came out and had a match with Luchasaurus, and Brock did put up a fight. He certainly did, but in the end, it just was not good enough. And Luchasaurus got the victory before Darby Allin attacked Luchasaurus after the match, of course, building to their match at All Out. Christian Cage then was like, I accept your challenge next week, Darby. Meaning that next week on Collision, we're going to be getting Darby Allin against against Christian Cage, of course, before he takes on Luchasaurus at All Out in just a few weeks' time. At the same time of this, of course, Darby Allin with Nick Wayne in a storyline against Swerve and AR Fox. So there's a lot going on for Darby Allin right now. And that kind of seems to be a consistent theme throughout AEW TV right now. And we'll get more into that later. But what do you think about, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus being on Collision and Luchasaurus' match against Brock Anderson, Chaos?
So first off, I mean, I don't even care about what he said about him being more superior than Ric Flair. This guy actually came out and said that Michael Jordan is not as good as LeBron. This guy said, look, as you can see, I'm wearing a Chicago Bulls hat right now. This is what triggered me like this when he said that. You're telling me that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I was like, you need to jump off the nearest cliff and make sure you don't survive, because there's no comparison. I'm sorry. LeBron is in his own lane, but MJ, you saying he's better than MJ? Come on now. Moving on anyway. So other than that, the promo was cool. I'm really digging this thing where he is the self-proclaimed TNT champion and he keeps on correcting himself. It's just like, we will defend this championship. It was pretty cool. The match itself was, man, I'm not sold on Brock Anderson. I'm sorry. I'm starting to really think that I don't think he's going to be as good as his dad. It kind of reminds me of, Brian Pillman Jr. Like, obviously he's just living off the name. I'm sorry. Like,
I think Brian's got potential. In fairness to him, I think he's gone.
We'll see.
He's got potential.
He's getting a second chance in WWE, so we'll see what happens there. But right now, I'm putting him and Brock Anderson in the same bracket right now, because I didn't find Brian Pillman Jr. interesting when he was there, and I don't find Brock Anderson interesting. He just looks like a default character. Like, you know, when you press square to randomize and you just get all right, and then you get a generic name, Brock Anderson. That's why I feel about it. So, but yeah, other than that, you know, yeah, Luchasaurus won and all that. I do see what you mean. Like, they're really working the hell out of Darby. You got this random match at All In, which I'm not complaining. We're getting a coffin match at All In, and then next week after, because coffin matches ain't easy. They ain't a walk in the park. He's gonna face Luchasaurus afterwards a week later. It's a tall order, but we'll see what happens. You know, I doubt he's gonna get back-to-back wins. He's gonna lose one of them. But yeah, other than that, the best part of it was mainly the promo that Christian Cage did, and then yeah, just take it from there. But either way, I'm looking forward to both matches, and Christian hopefully getting his head caved in next week by Darby Allin, and then yeah, just have to take it from there. But that MJ thing really ticked me off. That was blasphemous. Don't ever do that again. That is ridiculous.
I wish I understood it. I mean, Clark takes a day off the podcast and we're still getting these references, which I don't understand.
Even Bret is just like, come on, like, how do you not know about? He's basically.
I do know both of them. I actually do know both of them, but I could not tell you what they look like. I could not tell you, anything to do with their stats or anything. I know they're both basketball players. I get that.
He's the logo, bro. Well, he's not.
I know Jordans. I know that. I'm not completely oblivious to who he is.
MJ Space Jam was better than LeBron. Like, MJ can play himself better than LeBron can play himself. That's how great MJ is.
Yes.
Have you seen LeBron James in Space Jam?
I have not.
Good. Keep it that way. Watch the original one. That is way better. Trust me. He's better at playing himself than LeBron is good at playing himself. That's how good MJ is. That's what I'm saying.
I will say really quick about this. I do like Brock, though. I'm trying to give him a little bit of faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's ready yet. I didn't think he was ready when he started. I still don't think he might not be right there just yet.
He's definitely not.
At the same time, finally they're putting his dad behind him and actually with him. But like at the end of the match, it was like, where the heck did he go?
Yeah.
Like
that's a good point.
No. Not Brock. Arn disappeared. Where did he go?
Point. I mean, I guess he was letting his son, leaving his son to do his own thing. But I mean, here's the thing: AEW, and I believe this from a long time, they need a performance center, something that can contend with WWE's performance center. Because Brock was born in 1997, right? He's only 26, barely 26 years old. He's been in AEW for a few years now. I think he was 23 when he first joined. He really needs, somebody to just help him develop, because I think he does have that potential. But he's barely on TV. He's not getting that many opportunities to, really advance his character or anything.
And Dark is gone now.
Really against him. They are.
His Dark is gone as well, so there's even more limited time to even try to enhance your skills, because that's what they were essentially using Dark for.
Yeah.
Also, I think they should eliminate Rampage at the same point, because that it's a great show. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like I don't want to watch reruns. I just want to watch live shows.
I mean, that's a good point in itself. Like, is there still a demand for pre-recorded shows? But that's a debate for another day. Perhaps tomorrow, because tomorrow is Mailbag Monday here at Wrestling Republic. And once again, getting a bit of indigestion. This is the third day in a row on the podcast that I've eaten my dinner a bit too late, it seems. But now let's move on and let's talk about somebody who I'm a big fan of, right? And that is Powerhouse Hobbs. And he came out to do a promo on AEW Collision last night, and the crowd tried to start watching him, and he was kind of this really good promo, and they were starting with a what chant, and I was like, please don't ever go to a wrestling event again. If you're chanting that, just please don't. But his promo was actually so good that it ended up shutting most of them up. I just like Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs has so much potential. He really does, but he just needs something to take him to that next level. But is that something? The Redeemer, Miro, because he called out Miro, and boy, oh boy, do I want to see this. I really, really do. Miro then came out. He answered the challenge. They were staring as Miro was walking down the ramp. But the real question is, did Hobbs ask QTV to take out Miro? Because Miro was taken out by QTV. Hobbs' reaction, well, he was kind of blank about it. He didn't really give much away. Is this, is this part of his plan? Is this in the book of Hobbs? Or is this, something which he was unaware about and decided to, capitalize off of it? But I enjoyed this segment, and I'm very much looking forward to Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro in the upcoming weeks. Of course, I'm glad to see QTV on television as well. You guys know me. I think it's an interesting gimmick. But does Powerhouse Hobbs, need to be involved in that faction? Bret, give me your thoughts.
Finally, they are putting a good story around Miro. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, whoever the writers are. I think that this, first of all, Hobbs got exponentially better on the mic. And I don't know what it was. Maybe the crowd ticked him off tonight too. But he was great on the mic, did an amazing promo, I thought. And making it a story about like gods of sorts was like genius. Because he has the Book of Hobbs already. Miro's the Redeemer. It's right there. You have a great storyline to kind of, you can build off that for a few months if you want. But in my opinion, Miro comes out, everything's amazing. I'm like glued to the television. As soon as QTV interrupts, I was so disappointed. To me, it was like they are not letting Hobbs get that spotlight just by himself, because he can do that against Miro. They're two big guys. So I think he's earned it at this point. I don't think you should be putting anyone else out there. I get it. It's more time for other wrestlers, but I don't think QTV should be involved in this at all. I don't like QTV at all.
Oof.
Agreed.
That is a big statement. I mean, I've already been, vocal about my opinion on QTV. I think they were great. Mid-card faction, just something to break up the programming, right? Something funny, interesting. My actual issue is more so that they've just been stuck on Rampage mainly, so they've not really been given the chance to show most fans, why they're interested and why these pre-recorded, packages, they're actually quite funny, the ones that they do. We know that they're kind of a rip-off of TMZ at times, but I will agree with you, Brad, that Powerhouse Hobbs just kind of doesn't really fit in with them. He doesn't. I don't think they're really needed for him.
He's a big guy. He's a big guy. He deserves his own time to shine right now.
It was the worst decision using QTV for it to help him win. He doesn't need someone that needs help to win a title. Like it was the worst, one of the worst booking decisions AEW did to make because he just completely deflated his title reign. It just no one was feeling it. So yeah, I agree.
That's a good point. That is absolutely a good point. Maybe QTV and Hobbs need to just go separate ways. I wouldn't mind in terms of a very short-term feud, QT Marshall and Hobbs, just to give Hobbs a win. Just to give a small feud, give Hobbs some TV time, some direction, and have Hobbs. Don't get me wrong, have Hobbs very, confidently, beat QT Marshall, but just give a bit of a filler feud to Hobbs. And QTV, I think, is just that faction is something which is just perfect for filler television, and that's something which is needed, because if you give fans, for 2 hours straight, like 2 to 3 times a week, programming which they have to keep their eyes glued to, it's also fantastic wrestling, all of that stuff. Sometimes you just want to be entertained, just take a little breather, just, it's a bit more casual, an easier watch for a segment before then you go to another banger of a match. And I think QTV are, great for that purpose. But talking about great wrestling, let's talk about CMFTR against House of Black, because of course we know House of Black put their Trios Championships on the line against CMFTR. And Jim Ross joined the commentary team once again for this main event. I thought he was solid on commentary. And it was a great match, right? It was a great match. I enjoyed it. Nothing special. And of course, Samoa Joe cost CM Punk the win when he choked out Punk on the outside, leading to House of Black getting the victory. The referee didn't see, but I like that because obviously it's setting up, Punk hasn't responded to Samoa Joe's challenge. And this was kind of Samoa Joe's revenge for Punk ignoring it. But the real question here, and this is why I kind of sighed when I started talking about this, is what was the point in this match? What was it? Because I was convinced this entire week the only logical explanation for it was if, this was leading to CMFTR versus the Elite at All Out. I said, we're already doing FTR versus the Bucks at All In. Well, let's have Punk take care of Joe. Then as Trios Championships in that week break between All In and All Out, you have 7 days to build a feud. You have 7 days to build something which will sell a pay-per-view. What will do that? CMFTR versus the Elite. But it's very clearly not the direction they're going in unless they really, swerve us once again with this. But what was the point? I really came out to this and I was like, well, okay. The point, I guess, is, just set up Punk versus Joe. But there was no storyline here. Surely you could have done this exact same thing with CMFTR against Jay White and the Guns or something like that when, they've been doing a storyline with Jay White, Bullet Club Gold and CM Punk. That would have made, a lot more sense to me. I didn't get this one, Bret. I'm going to send it your way first. Do you agree with me here or do you think I'm being a little too harsh on it?
No, I think you're right on point. I don't think it makes any sense. I think they're feeding Punk way too many storylines in general right now. You have Ricky Starks, which is now suspended, so he has a 30-day gap so they can continue that storyline later on. Then you have Punk coming out and the ring announcer saying the real world champion. Okay, you have an MJF feud coming up right there. Now we have Samoa Joe. Then we possibly have an Elite feud. What's going on right now? I think the match was great. And also, I would like to see Punk and Black have a feud.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want, there's so many, and they kind of did. They had that great chemistry in the ring. It was a great, it was a good match. But when I was that was the part that had me more glued to the TV. But I do think that they're feeding Punk way too many storylines that he can handle right now.
Yeah, no, I will agree with you there 100%, Bret. It does kind of feel like Collision, of course, is the CM Punk show. We've said that from the start. And on one hand, that's not necessarily an awful thing because, of course, he's, a big draw for them, absolutely. But at the same time, if all the storylines, revolve around him, it makes it very difficult to book. It really does. And we saw this year. I didn't get it whatsoever. Chaos, what about you? Did you enjoy this match? And did you see, a point in it, I guess?
Oh yeah, 100%. It was way busy than I imagined. I didn't realize how long the match was, but for most of it, I did not complain. I didn't it didn't really hit me until when you did see Malachi and CM Punk in the ring together, and then the crowd was just swelling up and then just getting loud. I was just like, yo, it would be a great feud between them two, and especially I kind of wish that we had this when Punk was in, quote unquote, his prime, like his WWE prime against Allison Black. That would have been so awesome, like the promos and it would have been so good. But yeah, the match was fine. It didn't really click with me until when you said, yeah, he's actually in a lot of, he's got fingers in a lot of pies right now. And yeah, it's like, yeah, and with AEW, they like to play catch up with a lot of stuff. Like they like to resume where they left off. And who knows, if he didn't get suspended, these things might have been spaced out, but it looks like they're trying to maximize a lot with him. That's how it feels like. They're trying to put him in all this kind of stuff. So he's already lined up with everyone almost back to back kind of thing. So one thing is done, then it goes straight to the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. But yeah, I agree. I'd rather much see either Starks and Punk or Malachi and Punk instead of Punk and Joe at All In. But yeah, other than that, I didn't. What really ruined it for me is that it was already cast out there in terms of Joe said, "Well, if you're not gonna answer, I'm gonna get the answer myself," kind of thing. He said that early in the night.
Yes.
From then on, I was just like, yeah, he's going to interfere in the main event, and they're definitely not going to win the Trios championships now. So that kind of like just took the wind out of it because like you just but I still enjoyed it regardless. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to lead up to them versus the Elite. Who knows? They might still go to that because Kenny Omega hasn't revealed what he's looking to do, if he's going to be at Wembley or is he going to be at All Out. Well, I don't know what's going to happen there, but yeah, it was fine for what it was. Does have a little bit of some issues on there, but yeah, it is what it is. That's AEW for you.
Yeah, no, it is very unpredictable at the moment, to say the very least. A couple of things that I want to touch upon. You made a great point. Malachi Black, CM Punk, and Bret referred to this as well. That's a feud everyone wants to see. It really is. Like, who wouldn't want to see that? Two great talkers, two great wrestlers. And I think their stars would mesh quite well together.
Not only that, they train together.
Wow. I didn't even know that as well. Wow. I mean, another reason why that, it should happen. And instead, you're doing this match, this 6-man tag team match, in the middle of 10 million other feuds CM Punk's involved with, where there's no real, other direction, they can go into lead to Malachi Black versus Punk. Like, I think they should. The second point I want to touch upon, Chaos, is what you said about Samoa Joe. I loved CM Punk and Samoa Joe's, Ring of Honor matches. I really, really did, actually. They were some of the first indie matches I actually watched, were older indie matches that I watched when I first got back into professional wrestling. But I was disappointed a few weeks ago when they were in the ring together. I really was. I think some things, when they were so perfect, you should kind of just leave them in the past and move on. Both of these guys are older. Pardon me. I think their role in AEW should 100% be that they're putting over younger stars, or at least rising them up. Maybe sometimes getting the victories, whatever, because you can't just lose every match. But they should not be feuding with each other, especially in a stadium pay-per-view, especially in AEW's biggest wrestling event in their history. They're claiming it's the biggest wrestling event in history. Why, oh, why are we putting two 40-something-year-olds together in this? That is what I do not understand. I love both guys. I really, really do. But, I mean, Malachi Black, CM Punk, Jay White, CM Punk, Ricky Starks, all of these possibilities would be better than the one we're getting here. Give Samoa Joe a slot on the card as well, but just give him a slot against somebody different. I mean, do either of you guys disagree with that point, or?
No, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between the guy that you faced earlier in the night. That guy has potential. I can't remember what his name was. But yeah, no, I agree. It looks like AEW wants their own Hogan versus Flair type of thing. This storied feud, and against aging veterans.
I see where you're coming from there.
Say again?
I see where you're coming from there.
Yeah. I think that's what that's what they want. And yeah, like, sure, obviously we're getting two awesome people at the pay-per-view, but I'd much, like you said, I'd much rather them have separate matches. It's not against each other, because it doesn't do anything for them. It really doesn't do anything. We got the match. Punk finally got the win over Joe. What's up with Joe? Like, he doesn't make a good
point. I mean, Andrew Abbott, give him his rematch from earlier in that night yesterday, because he looked good in that 2-minute squash. Let's see Andrew Abbott at All In. Book me in for that.
To be honest with you, the true booking that should have been made for this, the real world champion versus the real world champion, MJF. You would have had all eyes on that pay-per-view just in general, just because of MJF, just because of Punk. You would have encapsulated everything. But they're throwing way too many. I don't know what is going on backstage, but they need to drop the pen and let things rest for a second.
Yes.
Quick question.
100% agree with you as well. Go ahead, Chaos. We've got 20 seconds.
I just want to quickly ask you, do you think it's most likely right now that there's going to be a rematch between MJF and Adam Cole at All Out?
Oh, wow.
Yes, I do. I think
It's looking
I
likely.
said it a few weeks ago. Adam Cole did not read that contract. I think it's MJF turning, but we can debate this for hours and hours, and we will do, guys. We will do on the All In Prediction Show later this week. But thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow on the show will be Mailbag Monday, so please send in your questions via our Instagram stories. Thank you so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, please hit a like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, not 5-star review. That's Spotify. If you're on Spotify, a cheeky 5 stars would be lovely. And if you're on Twitch, a follow as well. Thank you to Chaos and Bret for joining me here today, guys. It's been a banger of a show. We will see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your Sundays. Thank you, guys.